Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy Father's Day.
Yes.
And we honor that authority figure in our lives that has blessed us and supported us and been able to look at us and go, and we shape up and we get back on the path that we know we're supposed to be on, right? Whoever that was for you in your life, whether it was a man or a woman or an aunt or an uncle or grandfather, grandmother, we honor that authority that was a good role model for us on the outside. Because we need that on the inside. We need that inner authority because life is kind of weird sometimes. Anybody else notice that? Or is it just me? Yeah? Good. Because then that makes the rest of what I'm going to say relevant. So, how many of you spend more time keeping up with politics today than you did 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so a few of us. Okay, so how many of you have things on your cell phone that you play on a lot, like I do? Okay, so you don't want to admit that so much. We know. Words with friends. Okay, so how many of you know what at least one person had for dinner last night because you were scrolling through social media? Okay, so there are so many things to keep track of in this world, aren't there? So many things. There's the news and neighbors and what the neighbor's doing and their kid who moved to California who's causing them problems from a distance and all that family interaction going on, and there's this, that, and the other thing, and it grabs our attention, doesn't it? That's okay, there's nothing wrong with that, that's part of life. But if we spend a fraction of the time listening inside, as we do listening, playing, paying attention to the outside, we would feel much more confident in the steps that we're taking. Because that inner authority, that part of that universal consciousness of, we call it God, but it seems to be so limiting, that infinite love and intelligence that created our world that we pay so much attention to is also right inside, speaking to us all the time. All the time. All the time. All the time? The time when you feel like it's not talking to you, it's talking to you. Because silence is golden sometimes, right? Yeah, Lynn, I'm not going to say anything right now because you know better. So. Our job is to be more aware that that inner authority is talking to us all the time. And what is it going to do? Is it going to tell us not to do something that we want to do? Yes, sometimes it is. Is it going to guide us and help us through a difficult situation that's in front of us? Yes, it is. Just like our streets have lanes so that we're not driving all crazy and people aren't walking all over like they used to when cars were first around. And people getting run over and the car's going, well, I didn't know, I'm just trying to drive along here. People are walking all crazy, so they put sidewalks up. So we have those boundaries that we need to be able to listen to and set for ourselves. But there's also guidance coming through, inner promptings coming through to guide us in a certain direction. And because it's Father's Day today, I want to share with you a story about my dad and how he helped me listen very closely to what was going on inside of me. About this time 2 years ago, he was having a hard time swallowing, and he was having a procedure done so that he could kind of move that along. But one time when he went in for one of these procedures, they said, you know, there's something happening in there that we got to get out. So he was scheduled for surgery to remove part of his esophagus. That's part that the food goes down for all of you non-biologists like me. So anyway, so I was going to go. My family was scheduled to go to California to see Greg's family. We're all going to go together for a couple of weeks. So we just rerouted my plane. They went anyway. We rerouted my plane so I could go and help out after my dad's surgery. So I had a few weeks before I was going to go, and man, that human, understandable part of me said, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what's going to happen to my dad. I'm afraid of the surgery. I'm afraid, here's all my past stuff having to do with medical everything and surgery everything. Not the good stuff that worked out just fine, but all the scary stuff, right? That comes flooding into my mind, and I just get filled with fear and worry. And I'm thinking, okay, so this isn't going to be really helpful when I'm there trying to support my dad, because I'll probably cry the whole time or get worried or just be on edge and nervous. So I took that 7-step sheet that Greg and I are always talking about, that we actually use and have used for years and years and years. I pulled that out, and I, with my dad as the subject, I walked through that and walked through my fears, my desires, my good times with my dad, the things that I love about him, the difficulties that I was having because of what was happening, and forgiveness and release. And I felt a little bit better. And then they came up again, a little bit differently. I'd done a little bit of work on it, so it came up differently, so I did it again. So that when I went, it's not that I, what do I want to say? Wasn't worried, but I knew I didn't get a vote in what happened to him. That was between him and his soul. That was between him and his soul. So my job was to do whatever I needed to do, grieving, adjusting, making peace with the facts as they were, the facts as I knew them. Not the outcome, because I didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but I had to take my little fingers out of the outcome, my attachments to what the outcome was going to look like. I had to get my hands off of that so that I could just go and serve him and enjoy serving him, be grateful for the opportunity to serve him. So he had a surgery. I got a whole new respect for Western medicine after all of that. He's doing great today. But during that time that I was able to spend with him, we had so much fun. We talked about stuff, reminisced, kvetched, we did all sorts of stuff. We solved the problems of the world together. We watched TV together, and do you know how many food commercials are on TV when you're sitting with a person, how like blatant those are when you're sitting with a person who can't eat, right? So it's like, wow, there's another one. Yep, my dad was there are lots of them. You know, he would, yeah. So we just had fun being together, and I felt so clear in being able to support him because I did my work beforehand, because I let go, because I followed, I listened to what was going on the inside, and it wasn't this booming voice that said, hey, just chill out, lady, your dad's going to be just fine. That's not the voice that it was. It was this flushing out of all my fears to show me this isn't what's in the way of your being helpful to your dad. So you can go, my choice was, you can go and you can be scared, and you can add that fearful energy to whatever he's going through, bless his heart, and whatever other family members were going through. Or, I'm showing you this now, so you can take care of this now, ahead of time, so that when you walk into that space, you are on target. You are ready to go. You are not worried about, you know, what if I do this wrong? What if I, you know, gosh, I'm going to, you know, the responsibility is on me for keeping my dad alive. I could just be with him. We had so much fun. It was such a great time. So then when I got home, I had a week before Greg and the kids were going to get home. So maybe because I had food on the mind, we were all kind of eating for him for that time, I started like binge watching food documentaries, right? So like Forks Over Knives, and I was already kind of a chef's, Iron Chef and Chopped, if you watch any of those, so I was already kind of into food. But I started binge watching like Forks Over Knives and different things, and I was learning about a different way of eating. And I'm talking about this because I think we can all kind of relate to food. It's around us all the time, and maybe we have an awesome relationship with food, maybe we don't. But I really kind of had this hot and cold experience of food, right? So sometimes I liked it too much, and other times I really liked it too much. So, so I was watching these videos, just kind of learning about nutrition and learning about whole foods and different things. And this is just my journey. But it comes up a lot, and as I started kind of incorporating some of the things I was learning in my just everyday food intake, I started being able to listen to my body more. And so some of those videos I was watching were about, you got to be vegan, you got to be, don't eat meat, da-da-da-da-da-da. So I kind of tried that on, right? I kind of tried that on for sight. But what I learned is that my body needs animal protein, like every 5 days or so, right? And if I don't, then I feel kind of deprived. So then I just started doing that. Okay, so every few days I got to put a little drop of something with legs on it, or fins, I guess. Yeah. And I just started. My body shifted into this routine that felt good. And the reason I'm sharing this is because it's about listening to our bodies, right? This is not about food. This is not like a diet talk, right? This is about listening within, and our bodies are talking to us. It's not just about food, but when we feel any kind of emotion, it shows up in our bodies. When we feel stressed, maybe we get headaches or stomach aches or shoulder aches or just a feeling somewhere, tightness in our muscles. But when our emotions are talking to us, when our intuition is talking to us, we get body sensations as well. It feels better. So maybe we don't pay as much attention to it as we do the aches and pains. But our insides are always talking to us, and we need to listen. We need to listen because it's there as a guide. It's there to say, hey, here's something coming down the road. You're going to be helping out your dad. You need to be clear. Here's what's in the way. Have fun with that. And then we have tools to have fun with that, right? That inner authority is always present, always talking to us. And another reason that we need to get in touch with that is because we tend to get our information from the outside, whether it's news, whether it's Facebook posts, whether it's friends, whether it's, whatever. Not that there are signs out there, not that our internal intuitive system doesn't talk to us through outside people or billboards or books we open randomly. But we get those, and we are aware of those because of how they feel on the inside. I did a series of videos on YouTube for my practice, and one of them is called "You Can't Live Life by a Facebook Post." Because Facebook posts are so wonderful, and I'll scroll through there, and I can see them coming out. It's like, oh yeah, flowers, sunshine with the rays coming down, and then this statement that if we all lived in a vacuum, would function perfectly. But since we don't, I love the ideal of it, but in practicality, it doesn't always work, right? So I grew up in a very loving, caring, kind, gentle family. I grew up in Unity. And I was taught to be open to everybody, to love everybody just where they were. Everybody's growing and learning and doing the best that they can, and you just love them. You just love them where they are, which was awesome growing up, right? It's a really good thing to live by. I got lots of pats on the head for being such a nice person. But then I got to college and I started dating. And loving everybody just where they're at sometimes leaves you out, right? Which isn't always a bad thing. So the first person I dated in college, we had fun, it was great. A few months into it, his roommate, because I was such a nice, caring, kind person, his roommate said, "Lynn, you are so nice. I have to tell you this. He is completely in love with this person who's in New Zealand for an exchange program right now. And I just can't let you go on anymore." So I walk back to my dorm room, the long mile back, going, okay, so how do I just love and accept him where he is when this doesn't feel good at all, right? How do I do this? And when I talked with him, he actually was really cool with continuing dating until this other person got back. Kids, I mean, really, what are we thinking? So anyway, so I would love to say that I got the message, but it took me a few rounds of people, places, things, and situations before I got that. But we have to be careful. My point to that was, we have to be careful that we're not taking something that sounds and feels really good and really nice and plastering it over everything. You know, a hammer is a hammer, and it works on some things, but it does not work on everything, right? And love is one of those things, and this is why that strength that we're celebrating today in our father figures is so important. That strength, that part of us that can say no, and know that that's the loving thing to do. Instead of just yes all the time, yes, oh yes, of course, yes. Isn't that wonderful? Everything's so wonderful, yes, wonderful, so good. It's so good. Yes, yes, yes. Wouldn't that be great if we could? But that's not love either. That's not love either, especially when we go home and we go, I really did not want to say yes. I wanted to say no, but we can't be attached to what that looks like if we're living by a platitude, right? We can't be attached to, if we love everybody just the way they are, well, that's great. We can do that, but we can do that from a distance too. Sometimes love looks like something gentle and nice and caring, and other times love from the outside can look firm, maybe harsh, maybe cold. But if we're doing what we're being guided to do from within, and we know it's the right thing, it's going to be the right thing for whoever else is involved as well. You know, the great mystic Kenny Rogers, God bless him. You know, he said it first, I believe. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. But because every situation brings its own experience, its own facts, its own context, it'd It'd be so lovely just to say, I just want to love everybody. I just want to love everybody and be nice. But there are other people involved, you know? Speaking of Facebook posts, there is one that I love that I share with everybody because I think it speaks to this, and it says, you know, you be nice to an animal and they will love you for life. Be nice to a human being and who knows what the hell they'll do. That's perfect. That's so great because we can't be attached to just because I'm nice and this person's going to treat me well. I mean, ideally, yes, but we're dealing with human beings and we don't know what they bring to the table, right? So we have to give what resonates with us to give and listen within. I'm giving in this moment. What's the feedback I'm getting? Because that will determine my next moment. I'm giving now. What's my feedback? Not just from without, but that's part of it too. But taking that information from the situation that we're receiving, checking in with ourselves, and then acting accordingly. And that's a moment-to-moment practice. So how do we develop that inner sense? How do we develop that inner authority and listening to that and being able to feel it and feel when it's right and feel when it's not? How do we get good at anything?
Practice.
Thank you. We practice. We practice. So what I tell my clients in my practice, or when I'm teaching a class here, put a reminder somewhere. I have reminders on my phone to remind me several times throughout the day to check in with myself and find out, is what I'm thinking, feeling, doing in alignment with who I am and who I want to be? That's huge. I mean, it's just this little thing that sounds like a cricket on my phone. I was like, oh, okay, that's my reminder. And then I snooze it for 3 hours, so it pops again in 3 hours. It just helps me check in. And to have that as part of your commitment to checking in with you helps to make it so you're checking in with yourself, not just when your reminder goes off, but all the time. So it's just a little practice to keep that in the forefront of your thinking, of your beingness. And the second thing is to practice sitting and listening for 5 minutes a day. If you're doing more than that, keep it up. Some people say, I tried 5 minutes and I just didn't want to get up after 5 minutes. I'm just getting settled in after 5 minutes. Well, awesome, keep going until your inner authority says, okay, get out of the chair and go to the grocery store, or go to work, go to do whatever you need to do. But 5 minutes a day, just listening and watching, like that, being that sky in our meditation, being that sky and watching the clouds go by, watching the sensations in the body as they come and go, watching the cloud thoughts that wave by, and sometimes there are thunderstorms, like the beautiful thunderstorms yesterday that didn't last forever, did they? They didn't last forever. They came, they did their thing, and they moved on. Just like that, our thoughts are going to go through our minds. They're going to just go by, and the more we practice letting them go by, the more able we are to discern what that inner authority is versus the head chatter that goes on. You know, there's a lot of talk about the Wonder Woman movie that's out today. Not to take over Father's Day for a second here, but so I grabbed this from Greg's office. So this is the Wonder Woman shield, right? So you can, in your meditation time, you can just guard your inner peace from those thoughts that come by with your Wonder Woman shield. Okay? You guys haven't seen that movie yet, have you? No. Okay. Some people have. Okay. So this is your Wonder Woman shield. So when you see the movie, you know it's like, okay, I'm gonna be this champion for my mind, right? And I'm going to make sure my thoughts, my words, my actions are in alignment with my inner authority. And I know that I'm aligned when it feels right, it feels calm. So you got your meditation station, you got your meditation chair, you've got your Wonder Woman shield, and you're just letting those clouds go by. They're not touching you, and you're just listening. You're watching, you're listening. That's all you need to do. That's all you need to do, because then when you're out of your meditation chair and you're walking around, you've already had practice not reacting to what's going on in your brain, coming and going. And that helps to know how to check in with yourself and find out, am I coming from my inner authority, or am I just kind of doing whatever I want to based on what's going through my head in the moment? And the third thing, so we've got our commitment to checking in with ourselves throughout the day. We've got our commitment to listening and not doing anything else for 5 minutes a day. Longer is fine. And then the third thing is to take action on what your inner authority tells you to do. If I had not taken that time to process my feelings about my dad and his situation, I guarantee you, because I know this head, I've been hanging out with it for a really long time, and I know it would have gotten in the way of me being able to be present and clear and focused for what he needed from me when I was helping out. I wasn't an emotional roller coaster. You know, sometimes I'm like, okay, I can do this, and then going in and seeing his feeding tube and just crying, or, you know, getting scared, or having that vibe all out there. I listened, and it's like, okay, you're showing me that I got all this stuff in the way between me and Nashville right now, and it's time to clear it out. And I acted on it, and it was helpful. And you know when, oh, I had a feeling to do this or that, and you do it, and when you don't, you know that. You already know this. This inner authority has always been a part of you. Our job is to align with it more and more, be aware of it more and more, and we have to pay attention to it in order to align with it more and more. It doesn't just happen. It grows like a muscle that we work out, a muscle that we pay attention to. It grows. So this is your Father's Day challenge. To do something, pick one of those things that we talked about today, and work with it. Work with it. It's really fun to check in with yourself throughout the day and go, wow, I was just thinking something crazy right there. Not in the clinical sense, but just in the human nature sense, right? And go, okay, well, let me just move it back to my road that I'm on. And it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more peaceful. And a lot of crooked roads can be made straight for us if we're paying attention to what we need to do to cooperate with what we're being guided to do. So let's take some time, once again, to touch in with that inner sense, that inner strength, that inner authority, and we're just going to give the word authority a new reputation. A sense of strength and love, of trust, of goodwill. And whatever that feels like to you at a bodily, visceral level, to feel yourself encompassed by that constructive, positive, beautiful, loving authority. The one that is always working in your best interest, always, 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 and therefore the best interest of anybody in your world. Notice what it feels like inside. This authority, divine presence within, is something for which we cultivate awareness, not trying to get it inside of us because it's already there. Our job is to cultivate awareness of it, be in tune with it, be in alignment with it. Leaving the clouds behind and feeling that clear blue sky from the tops of our head through to the tips of our toes. And we say, thank you, God, thank you. Infinite intelligence, infinite love, infinite wisdom, infinite compassion and knowledge. Thank you. In that space of vast universe, infinite universe, as well as in every cell and atom of our bodies, our surroundings. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Amen. And as we settle in more deeply to this time of meditation, of opening our minds and hearts to that conscious experience of that inner presence that's with us all the time. We notice our bodies stilling, relaxing. Notice what that feels like for the body to just let go. And we notice the thoughts moving through our minds, as thoughts do. And we just notice them and let them flow by like clouds in the sky. And just like the vast blue sky that is open, clear, and just as clouds move through that sky, we just notice them and let them be, just as that sky does. If we were to imagine our arms raised and outstretched, reaching towards that sky, we create a funnel, a vortex for that blue sky to filter in and through us, through our heads, down through our bodies, and we drink it in. Just as we drink in the infinite intelligence, infinite love, infinite wisdom of the universe, of our own internal nature. That divine wisdom that is both transcendent, seeing, moving, we can see and experience. And at the same time, in the same space, that infinite love, wisdom, presence is within every atom and cell of our bodies, of our surroundings. Always supporting us, always guiding us. Whether we're listening or not, it's there. And this time together and the times that we take, setting everything aside to listen, to tune in, to drink in that infinite presence and all that is there to support us on our life journey. So we take a few moments to just be in that presence, feeling it moving in and through us and all around us. The most important thing we can do every moment that we think of it is to remember this inner authority is part of me. This divine wisdom is part of me. It's not separate or at a distance. It's more of me than my skin or my breath. And just like we take a day every year to honor our fathers, our father figures, we take many, 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 many moments to honor that guide within. And we say, thank you, God. And when we say thank you, God, we're saying thank you to that universal, infinite wisdom, love, knowledge, compassion. And we say thank you to those qualities that exist and live and move in every atom and cell of our bodies, that make up the air we breathe in, thank you to that divine inner self that we are becoming, that we are awakening to. Remember We say thank you, God, and we say thank you, God, to each other. Thank you to each other for adding to the beautiful essence of our lives. So for all this, we say thank you, God. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And so it is. So now is a time in our service when we prepare for our time of giving. And we take as our offering blessing. I'm going to say this a couple of times. We use the affirmation, as I give and receive, I align myself with my inner authority. I'm going to say this alone again. As I give and receive, I align myself with my inner authority. Together? As I give and receive, I align myself with my inner authority. And silently? As I give and receive, I align myself with my inner authority. Aloud, together one more time.
As I give and receive, I align myself with my inner authority.